Hey everyone, welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I am with A Room to Bloom. So today on this message, I am going to move forth with an angel message. Spirit guide, angel message. I'm very full of goosebumps right now. So what I'm going to do is start out with one deck and then I'll move into something else and tell you why I chose this today. So we're going to start out with a deck called Healing with the Angels, right? It is often angels that step in to comfort us, and many times in the Bible it's spoken, the first words that angels speak to those that they're speaking to, because their presence is so big, right? They have a big presence about them. The first words often spoken is "do not fear," right? Do not fear. It's like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you and to guide you, right? So maybe those exact words aren't exactly like that, but they always say "do not fear." So they let people know that they're there in peace to help them. Okay, so we're going to first, hopefully, you're going in, you're coming in with this intention. If you have been having experiences that have felt otherworldly, that have felt like, maybe you're overwhelmed by them. Maybe you haven't spoken on them. Maybe you're sitting with the experience, not knowing what to do with it. You've been guided, you've been given some information, and now you're working through that, right? First of all, the experience, right? Going, did that really happen? Has this been a dream? What is all this about, right? So you have all these questions, but then this is really where the faith comes in. Having faith that there is more than we can see, right? And it's when you don't have faith, like when oh my gosh, why can't I say their name? I'm sorry, I can't say their name right now. But when one gentleman didn't believe, he was not able to speak for a while. They said, well, because you didn't believe, I'm not going to let you, do that for a while, until the baby is born, right? So anyway, so it has to do with Rachel having a baby in her latter years, right? And her husband, who was he was saging the temple, and then an angel came to him. Okay, so let's see what message comes through about healing with the angels that would be helpful for you on your journey. The first message we have is a new beginning is here. So your angels are here to help you with a new beginning. It's interesting because it looks as if she is a bride, right? She's holding a bouquet like a bride would. So that could be coming up for you. We just had Valentine's Day a couple days ago. So if you have had a proposal, have received a proposal, right? A new beginning for you, both in the physical and in the spiritual. And it's really interesting. I know that I'm not alone, or was not alone, in this idea of this earthly understanding of getting married. And I say earthly because, but maybe Western society, right? Where many other cultures are really, really looking at the spiritual aspect of it. But many people in the Western culture, it's like people make it really about the wedding. I'm not saying they're not looking at the marriage by any means, but I would say more so in the Western culture, it's probably where people they're thinking about the marriage, of course, but there's a lot of hoopla in the weddings too, right? And I know other cultures have that as well, but it seems like there's a more of a spiritual depth to that undertaking, right? So either way, there's a new beginning for you here. And the angels are here to tell you that you are not alone on this new beginning. She does wear a gown of purple. So something, and has purple in those flowers. So it could be something to do with royalty as well. Okay. What else do we have here? We have divine guidance. You know, this is, I look at this card and I see this heart star, right? Like, be guided by your heart. We have the North Star, right? Which was the guide for the three wise men who followed it to find Joseph, Mary, and Jesus, right? And an angel came to them as well, to tell them, what had happened, that Jesus had been born. And they followed the North Star. But the North Star can look like what resonates with our heart, right? And you're getting divine guidance to help you on this journey. Okay, the next one is your guardian angel is watching over you. And the next deck I will be using is the guardian angel. Here we have a young girl who's sad. She's crying, but it feels like she's alone, right? But she is not alone. You see that angel? This is like seeing into the other realms, connecting with the other realms. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will open. There is more than just our physical world. And here it looks as if she's sitting alone. So I feel really emotional about that. So if you are feeling or have been feeling alone, know that you are not. Okay? You are never alone. Okay, the next one is you have an answered prayer that is coming up. What have you been praying for? We have this light green color. I would like to say mint. Something that would say that you are an original, a one of a kind, right? Something you are creating, that you are doing, that you'd like to experience. You have a prayer that is answered. Your prayers are heard. And that's what's really important to understand, that we don't have to speak our prayers out loud. Our thoughts are heard and understood. And it is times like this sometimes where we put out that clarion call, right? Where we are lonely, where we are going through something, and we're heard and we get the help that we have asked for, right? We can ask for a new friend to come into our life. We can ask for a new place to live. Where we feel safe, secure, right? And I say ask for, but it's also asking in gratitude. Thank you for bringing me new friends in my life that I can trust, right? Thank you for a home that is safe, cared for, loving, where I can feel like I can be my most authentic self, right? Okay, prayers are being answered. I do want to point something out that I just noticed here. It looks as if she is in water, kneeling in water. So this could even be some type of a getaway, or moving towards or being by the water. Okay. The next one we have is forgiveness. Forgiveness is at hand. And as much as you are forgiven, right? We are forgiven in so many ways, right? God gives us grace and mercy all the time. This is the thing that the more we forgive, right? The more it's like we realize we're forgiven, been forgiven for all that we've done, experienced, go through, and we're asked and guided to extend that forgiveness to others in our life. Understanding that they were only where they were at on their journey at a certain time, right? So just lean into your heart space here with the color being green again, right? Okay, so now I'm going to tell you kind of what drove me to open this reading. So I'm just going to very quickly just show you a page. I opened up a page of a magazine, and it's a creator's magazine, and it talks about feather ideas. All right, so I've just spoken on a few videos about feathers like that I find and have been finding. In fact, I found one on my blouse this morning when I was thinking about something that I wanted to speak on. All of a sudden, I look in the mirror and I have a feather on this top, and I had just changed the top. And it was like that was my encouragement. I haven't released that video yet, but hopefully that'll be released before this one. But anyway, I opened this up this morning and realized, at first I was looking at, oh, it's pretty, right? It's pretty. But then I looked at it, like I really looked at it. Oh, the feather messages again, right? Because our guides and angels, if you are not necessarily having actual feathers placed on your path, know that they'll come in other ways too. Like there's Kleenex boxes with feathers on them. Like I bought dishes one time, there were feathers, and I was just so drawn to them. And then it was like it came to me later, two white feathers, right? So sometimes it's kind of that hindsight. If you're caught up in the moment with you're somewhere else, right? More on the surface level, not like thinking about the spiritual aspect of it. But anyway, so this is called 10 Inspirations for Feathers, and I'll just hold it up super quickly. This is it. I'm not going to keep holding it up, but just you can see that was it. So I wanted to talk about, because each of these have a word associated with them or a title to each card. It's about creating cards with feathers, okay? So the first one, it speaks about our dream world, okay? And this is a dream catcher. And the dream catcher speaks about protection, nighttime protection, okay? Of catching our dreams that like aren't serving us. So we have a new beginning. If you felt like you weren't protected before, you definitely were being watched over. You made a clarion call. Your guardian angel is always with you, but it's as if you have stopped again. And I realized that when it stopped, it was 12:25. Okay, so healer of the ages, Jesus. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to take a card on this dream world and the idea of protection. What would you like to tell us about this idea of protection and new beginnings? Okay, release. All right, so transformation is the number 13. It speaks about the ending of one thing, the beginning of another thing. This is the end of a phase or a situation. So maybe where you were feeling unsafe at some time, a transformation has been and is taking place, and it is time to move on. Where does it fall under? New beginnings, right? All right, so we're going to go to the next one, which is, it says, pressed is best. I just want to look at this for a minute. It talks a bit about the background. So what's going on in the background? Okay, what's going on in the background? This is talking about the pressing of a feather to create a background look. Again, we have divine guidance in this situation about what's going on in the background. So let's see what comes up here. We have the Two of Fire. This is the Two of Wands. It's about some type of a partnership. You've come into your own new partnerships or contracts, which can be marriages. Continue to move forward. The fire is passion. It's creative ideas, right? You're being divinely guided, whatever this is. Okay, the next one is winging it. And there's an image of an owl here, and it's made, the eyes are made with two, let's see, peacock feathers. And I'm just reading this for a minute. It says the spun owl gets all of its expressive character from the richly colored peacock feathers. Okay, peacock feathers speak of awakening, spiritual awakening, right? Which have been used on the eyes. So the name of that one is called Winging It. What situation right now are you being encouraged to kind of wing it? So we've got the guardian angel. This is where it falls under the situation where the little girl is sitting here, but her guardian angel is here. She is not alone. In what situation are you being called to wing it? Okay. We have unity. Okay. This is speaks about traditional viewpoints or methods. Spiritual organizations seek out mentors and like-minded friends. So a coming together, if you will, a unity, so that there isn't division, right? Where you're not feeling separate, but you're feeling a part of the whole of God, right? And it's interesting that that falls under guardian angel. It's like the guardian angel is here to show you you are not alone. You are not separate. You are part of the whole. Okay, what else do we have here? Under 4, we have, it says all tied up. Now in the tarot deck, that the card of the all tied up is the 8 of Swords, where somebody's kind of in their thoughts, okay? And even though they can get out of it, they're so tied up in their thoughts, they're not necessarily moving from their heart space. So let's just keep that in mind. What situation has been keeping you all tied up that you're that it was, but now you've got this like new beginning here, right? So let's see. And your prayer has been answered. Okay, 6 of Fire, a victory in something. Good news is on its way. Your prayer has been answered. Public recognition or rewards, okay? So this all tied up is saying, okay, I'm coming out of that situation, right? The 4 also represents, it can represent the physical world. It says, introduce a touch of handcrafted elegance to a simple printed invitation. An invitation. So you might be receiving an invitation. Here we have that good news is on its way. Remember, public recognition are rewards. It says print out a pile of invitations, right? What's coming to me is like Cinderella, where everyone is invited to the ball. And even Cinderella was invited, even though her stepsisters and her stepmother basically kind of said she wasn't, and they piled work on her. So she didn't recognize that she was invited to the ball, which is like we're all invited to seek out the kingdom of God, right? We're all invited to do that. But there will be others who won't want you to do that, right? There will be others who will try to distract you, who will try to pile stuff on you so that you don't see the light, so that you don't connect with your spirit guides, so that you don't, tap in, okay? So the next one under, interesting. Yeah, number 5. It's called the Gilded Cage, okay? So here we have a bird in a cage and it's blue. Like this whole image is mostly blue and white. It says, you're so special. And look at when Cinderella, she had her fairy godmother come, right? She felt alone. But she had her fairy godmother come and she told her, you are so special and you get to go to the ball and we're going to make you, like we're going to get you all dolled up here to go to the ball. And the gilded cage is something that someone puts themselves into, again, like that, sorry, I can't remember which one it was. But the Gilded Cage is like, yeah, that Eight of Swords, where somebody, it's like they put themselves in it. But this falls under the forgiveness area. So let's see, I want to see something. Here it says, layer up in several feathers, in varying shades and lengths. So you could be asking to be found forgiveness where people were throwing shade on you, to the shade and the lengths that they would go, right? To stop you from having a victory, right? What do we have about that? We have the Chariot, right? How interesting. What does the Cinderella go to the ball in? She goes in to the ball with the horses, right? And the cage. It's like a chariot. Archangel Metatron, an important achievement, self-discipline and willpower, and once again, public recognition. Forgiveness, it falls under forgiveness, right? Cinderella had a wonderful heart. She was like that. She was a gentle, caring, loving soul, right? Okay, we're going to go to the next one. We're going to go under the release, the new beginnings. So under number 6, we have the feather thing is called In for the Quill. We have a white feather on here, and that is the one that really caught my attention when I first looked at it. It was like all pretty. Then all of a sudden, the white feather. It just like stuck out to me yet again. Guardian angel, right? Okay, this white feather, and also this is all mostly blue as well, communication, release. So this says In for the Quill, new beginning. You might be releasing your story, right? You might be writing about your story. In for the Quill, okay? Being a writer, asked to write your story. Maybe someone wants to write about it. It says, in a world of text messaging and social media, this fun quill-like design dips into the distant past to send someone a quick note. Into the distant past. So someone from your distant past may be finding out about your new beginning, and but you're being asked to release the end of a phase and or a situation. Okay. Tell me the card here that comes up. 5 of Water. Yes, this says crying over spilt milk. The release. So now you're releasing, right? You release tears. Things not turning out the way that you had hoped. So you felt sad about it, not seeing the positive in a situation. So this is saying, be careful not to just focus on, in this image, as in most of these, there's 3 cups that are knocked over. Don't just focus on the 3 cups. Focus on the 2 that are standing up, that are still holding the water. Focus on the positive, not the negative. And focus on your new beginning, not what was back there, right? Okay, number 7, we have skirting border. So it's like a round box here. It does have a flamingo on it, and that flamingo can represent being in 2 worlds at one time, right? Skirting the border. So it's like you tap in and you're in the physical. You tap into spiritual, you're in the physical. And it's interesting because this falls under the card of divine guidance, of following your heart and partnership, right? So skirting the border, it's like dipping your toes in the sand, or in the water of relationship. It says, bring a flurry of glamour to a plain box with this flirty feathered skirt. So remember, we have partnership here, right? New partnerships or contracts. So it could be a marriage. It could be flirting with the idea of marriage, of something like that. Okay, what do we have here for this card? We have, and with an emperor, okay? So, or an emperor is the one who is flirting with this idea. An emperor is someone, it could be like an organization or someone who's like in their mind. They consider structure and discipline heavily, but they are a leader, right? So being divinely guided to lead, right? All right. Now I'm gonna flip this page so I can get to number 8 here. Number 8 falls under the guardian angel and unity, okay? But it is called drifting off, okay? It speaks about boho dreams. So that could be like a vacation. That could be like traveling back to another time. Unity, knowing that we are not alone, that we are all together. You know what I just noticed on this unity card are different religious symbols. I'm going to hold that up on those globes. You see we have like a cross, the Star of David, the yin and yang symbol, the crescent moon. Yeah, so different things. Again, drifting off. To create feathered focal points. Okay, feathered focal points. Focus on your guardian angels. Focus on your angels if you are feeling alone. You can ask questions in your thoughts. You can speak the questions out loud. You can journal the questions. But then we have to be present enough to see how they're communicating with us. And they communicate with us in so many ways. It can be like this magazine thing that came up, right? It can be a song that comes on the radio. It can be a book that seemingly is totally in disarray on a bookshelf. Everything else is perfect, but this one's pulled out and sticking out for you. The title of the book. It can be a license plate, a sign on the road, something someone's having in another conversation that you just happen to hear. Okay, let's see what comes up about that drifting off. No surprise. What's the card? The Dreamer, Archangel Metatron, right? This is a new beginning again, right? It's like you've gone through the journey. So now you have a new beginning, and your angel is here to remind you of that. Take a leap of faith. Follow your dreams. Drifting off, right? Unexpected opportunities. Do you remember the first one was Dream World? That was number 1, where it said new beginning. New beginnings. So we had Dream World. Unexpected opportunities here. Okay, we're going to move on to number 9, and it says plenty of pluck. That falls under answered prayers and the victory card. I'm going to just kind of see what this says, what card comes up. Page of Fire. Okay, so this is a message about your creativity. Pages are messengers. Could be a younger energy coming in, someone who's outgoing, creative, confident, mischievous. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and your ingenuity, right? Use that. Your prayer is being answered here. You have a victory. Plenty of pluck. I like that, right? It's a term that people use. Yeah, as a plucky little person, like had a lot of personality, a lot of energy. So this says jazz up the feather with paints and glitter. Use glitter glues, right? So this could actually be related to your actual creativity. Use a paintbrush, acrylic paint with the dots, right? Embellish things. So use that plenty of pluck within yourself, right? Embellishing yourself. Be creative. Glitter and glam yourself up. Because why? You have this victory here. You have public recognition or rewards here. Okay, and the final card is the paper plume. Okay, and it speaks about, and this falls under forgiveness and the Chariot, right? An important achievement, self-discipline and willpower, public recognition. It says, go faux with a stamped design. Use embossing powders. What's coming to me is bossing up. Use your powers to boss up. Enhance the detail in the trendles, right? So the trendles are often spoken of, the curls, right? The details in our curls, in our DNA. Enhance our DNA. I want to just look at this a minute longer. Stamps is the perfect choice for layering, as the mass of trendles gives a super tactile look. So get tactile, which means using your hands, right? Using your hands in a situation. I'm trying to remember this in Cinderella. I think it depends on which one you watched, where she made a dress for the ball or something, and it was torn. But get tactile. It just depends on which one you watched, or which version of it was, right? It says embossing powders will pick out even the finest feathery edges. And so what I'm getting is bossing up with your powers, it will pick out, you will be picked out because you are the finest. To build up a full-bodied plume, it says no real feathers required, which is interesting because I was just speaking about that. If you can't find, if you're not running into actual real feathers, it's okay. There is a lot of information right here, right? Just this plumes this right up, all this information that comes through. But I'm going to take the top card here on the deck. Why are we pluming things up? Because you are the star. You have healed. You've been doing the healing work, right? Happy times are here. So what happened with Cinderella? She became the star of the ball because she walked in and turned every head in the room. Everyone was like, who is that? Including the prince, right? Including the prince. It says happy times. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans on the right path. And even though she ran, she wasn't trying to run from him. She was running because her chariot she knew she only had until midnight, right? Before her carriage, her pumpkin carriage, turned back into what it was, right? Originally. And so she wasn't running from him, but she ran because of the fear of not being able to get back to where she came from. And yet love found her regardless, because that slipper was made for her and only for her, and it was only her foot that would fit in it. So there was no denying who that was. So your originality, your divine blueprint, your experience, your words, your creativity brings in this new beginning for healing for you, for your journey. So I think that with that said, I'm going to just wrap this up with one positive message. Let's see what comes up here that'd be helpful for the collective. Okay, well, you know what's interesting? Oh, it says February 15th is the date that this opens up to, and it speaks about a ritual for love. And I'm not going to get into that because this is not a book of rituals, but it is kind of interesting. But on the same page is actually today's date. I think it's the 17th today. Yeah, it's the 17th. So why don't we just go there? Because the 16th says become an expert in you, and the 17th says friendship as soulmates. We often seek lovers to connect at a soul level, but good friends can be soulmates too. And that can also be like partnerships, right? To a fire. That can be a loving partnership, but it can be a partnership with a friend, right? How can you tell if a friend is a soulmate? They don't simply tolerate your imperfections, they love you because of them. Home is wherever they are. Whether you're both silent for hours or talking loudly into the evening with a bottle of wine or a hot cup of tea. In this great big world, when you've found a person whose crazy matches yours and your life has become brighter because of it, it's that, I'm sorry, if that's not a soulmate, then I don't know what is. Okay. So I love that that came up actually on today's date. And I have to tell you, I've been watching a show and I've actually, it's like my second time around on it. And it's called, oh my gosh, it's too funny. I think it's called Picker Sisters, but they're not actual sisters. They're two friends who are into interior design. And they're so funny, right? They really enjoy their journeying and their travel, and they are soulmates, right? You can see that they're soulmates because they're both enjoying what they do. They make each other laugh. They're having a good time. They feel very lighthearted, right? So just that, and so when we look at our relationships and we say, okay, that could be a soulmate relationship. Potentially some are karmic relationships coming in to teach you lessons or finish out a lesson or a contract you had in the past, right? Some are divine, divine relationships, like, so just, I won't get into that too much. However, it gives you an idea. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was different, and I'm glad that I could share the way that I saw this message coming through, and I hope that it brought you joy. All right, take care.